Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to buying your first airbrush over £100. Now I'm going to go through a selection that are on the wall here. We'll start off with a bargain basement one, which is basically for a beginner, which will be this one here. Now this is the AB130 and it is a £16 airbrush. Yes, I do own the cheap £16 airbrush. Now there is nothing wrong with this brush for a beginner to get started out with and start chucking some paint down on some paper and having a practice with. What you'll find with the cheap airbrushes is the seals to the front are usually like rubber. They're not sort of like the solvent resistant proof ones. So if you are chucking solvents through these will usually die after quite some time. But there's nothing wrong with buying one of these, as I say, to get practicing with and sort of getting your trigger down and having to play. You're then going to move on to a brand which is higher in price, and this is why I say looking at a brush at over £100. Now I can push you through some brands here. Now I'd recommend all these brands that are on this side on the wall here. They've all worked for me over the years and I've owned these brushes for a long time. So the brands we're going to look at today is, first off, as just over £100, which I think is a brilliant brush, is the Harder & Steenbeck Evolution. Now this is the Evolution Silverline Solo, which I've owned for over 13 years, and it has been an outstanding brush, guys. It really has. I started off my airbrush career with one of these, which was a Aerograph Super 63. That was the first brush that I ever purchased and sort of learnt with, was that, and I moved on to a Harder & Steenbeck Focus. That was my second brush that I brought, and I was always using the H&S Focus on a 0.2. Loved the Focus and then moved on to the Evolution, which I've got here. Now this is a 0.2. I've upgraded this to the 0.15 with the V2 needle nozzle setup, so I've sort of gave it a new lease of life and also had it dipped, so it's like my Rainbow Edition version of the Silverline Solo, but it's been a brilliant brush and it's not let me down. Moving on to another H&S which I would recommend. Now another price bracket, you're sort of going up to like the £200 mark, and it's the Infinity. Now the Infinity's been out for quite some time. I've owned two Infinities and this is the second one I've got here. Now this one's my custom one, which I've done some little tweaks to. Another great brush, guys. If you want a detailed airbrush with the features that are on this, I think it's really, really good. You've got your adjuster to the back, which isn't like your other adjusters on the brushes I'll show you in a minute. This one is like a click in, click out sort of mechanism where you can press in and press out and lock your trigger in, and you can click it to reset it. So it's a nice quick way of dialing your trigger in, dial it in like that, press it in, press it out, and you can get full trigger again. That's one thing I like about the adjuster on the back of this. You get your prong caps to the front, which are really nice. So if you work with your crown cap off, on a normal airbrush you would see the needle exposed like that, but with the H&S, with the prong cap to the front, you can leave your crown cap on, and if you dink your needle, you're not going to dink your needle into your work because you've got two prongs either side of your needle which protect it, and if you get tip dry you can just pinch and move and clean your needle at the front. So that's the Infinity. If you're looking for a detailed brush, you can get this on a 0.15, a 0.2. If you get the box where you get the 2-in-1, you can get it on a 0.2 and 0.4, so you can get the bigger needle and nozzle setup in one setup. So that's a nice little bundle that you can get with the H&S. So that's the Infinity. That one's coming in at around 180, 190 for the Infinity. We'll move over to Creos. Now Creos have been around for quite some time and they're bringing out some really, really nice brushes. I've got two Creoses. I've got the PS290 that I've recommended to a lot of people, and it is a brilliant brush, guys, for what you get for the price. You get a 0.2 top cup airbrush, double action. You get your adjuster to dial in your trigger for your paint flow, and then you get a MAC valve to the front. Mag valves on these work really well. You don't get no leaks from these when you're using it. This one's coming up 3 years old now, and I've had no problems with this brush. These ones are tipping around 135, probably 140 now, but it's a great brush for 1/4 for what you get. So that's the Creos PS290. We're moving on to another H&S, and this is my latest one, which is a Geraldes edition, which is the Infinity Geraldes edition there on the H&S. So it looks pretty much similar to the Infinity here, but there's been a lot of tweaks to this brush. Here, the trigger, it's shorter in the front end as well, so it brings you closer to the work. It's got some really nice laser etched designs down the side. A great brush with great trigger response and a very comfortable airbrush to use and easy to strip down. So that's another one to look out for. These ones are tipping around the £200 mark, but a very, very nice brush from H&S. You can then move on to Iwatas. Now there's loads of Iwatas that you can buy. You can look at the Neo range. We've got the HP C Plus range. I've got 2 of them in that range. This one is the HP C Plus on a 0.3 double action top cup airbrush. Another great all-rounder to look for if you're a beginner, because this is on a 0.3, so you can get some real nice detail with this brush, and it handles your thicker body paints a little bit easier because it's a 0.3 needle and nozzle setup. Nice solid chrome finish, a good workhorse, guys, to look out for. So that's the HP C Plus on a 0.3. If you want a little bit more detail on a side feed, you've got the HP SB Plus on a 0.2 side feed, so you can put your cup either side, take the pin out. A great solid brush by Iwata. Very nice trigger on these. They're sort of really low, slightly sloped, and they're very comfortable and precision, guys. They're absolutely bang on trigger response. So that's the HP SB Plus on a 0.2. So you got that one. We'll move over to Badger. Now I own one Badger, and I got this basically off of YouTube reviews, and it is a great brush, guys. It's the Sotar Slim. It's the 2020 Slim on a 0.2. Now these brushes don't come with a crown cap on these. You just get like a plastic sleeve that goes over the front of the brush like that. But these on trigger response are outstanding. They really are. Very precise, comfortable brush to work with. And this is the bonus I like with this, is this piece here that comes to the bottom of the brush. It's like a little bit of moulded plastic that sits around your air valve, but it's very comfortable for your hand when you're holding the brush. You take your needle out from the back, so you undo the chuck here, slide the needle out, and you can locate the needle from the back. A nice brush to work with. These ones are coming in around 117 for a 0.2, but amazing, guys. They really are on trigger response and detail. It's a very nice brush. We'll move on to another good brand, which is another one made in Japan, and it's Rich Pen. This one's the 112A on a 0.2. You've got your little scallop in the top for your paint, so a very small reservoir, so a few drops of paint and you're airbrushing for a little bit of time and just top it up at the top. A very comfortable brush, again, very much similar trigger and low trigger as the Iwata HPSB Plus, exactly the same trigger, basically the same brushes as Iwata or the Rich Pens. As you can see in the bodies here, they're very, very similar on the bodies with the slope at the bottom, and the triggers are identical on these two brushes. So Rich Pen are a nice one to look out for if you're after a brush. These ones are coming in at around, I picked this one up for around 105 at the time. Solid brush by Rich Pen. If you're after a brush to get some paint down on sort of big volumes with 2 air caps, highly recommended, guys, PS290 by Creos. Outstanding brush. Again, you've got your fan cap and you get a spot cap, you get a nice big cup to the top, and you can buy the bigger cups for these as well, so you get the big cup that sits on these. Trigger puts a great volume of paint down, puts a 2 inch to about 2.5 inch fan pattern, and then you get your spot cap as well. Very robust brush. I've owned this now for coming on, this will be coming on 3 years as well, and it gets used in all of my videos. So a great brush. These are coming in at around 153, so very worth looking out for is the PS290 on a 0.5mm needle nozzle setup. If you wanted to spend sort of more money, a little bit more, coming up again, £200 mark, you could go for the Iwata Takumi Eclipse. Now, very nice brush again, great triggers on these, very comfortable and very responsive in the trigger. Big cup to the side, which is a sort of feeds down and into the brush like you would get your big spray guns where you put your paint in the cups to the top. Same sort of thing with this one. Big cup to the side, you can put that cup to the opposite side as well. This one's on a 0.35, so it'll get you down on detail and it will handle thicker paints quite easy. A very comfortable brush to work with for long periods of time, guys, is this, and it's all due to the triggers on these are really, really comfortable. I would say these are one of the best triggers for comfort is the Takumi Eclipse, and the custom micron triggers, you can't beat them for comfort. So that's the Takumi Eclipse. If you're after a bottom feed, coming in at around 139, it's the workhorse that will last a lifetime, and it has for me. It's the Eclipse, and it's the HP BCS on a 0.5 bottom feed airbrush, so you get your jars to the bottom. So if you want to do t-shirts, you can just interchange your paints really easy, blast through, colour change. A workhorse, guys. This has been around for donkey's years, and this personal brush has been around with me for donkey's years, and it just lasts and works. So that's the Iwata HP SB Plus on HP BCS on a 0.5 needle and nozzle setup, bottom feed, brilliant brush. So they're the brushes to sort of look out for, guys. I would recommend all of these, and I'd also recommend the Airbrush Super 63s. You can find them on eBay going cheap, and they are amazing on trigger and detail, but they are very, very fiddly. If things start to go wrong with them on the triggers and things like that, they're very fiddly to put back together. So you've got to sort of treat them with kid gloves. You can get the Teflon seals for the front end, because the Super 63s used to be like little rubber washers. And when I had my first one, and you put solvents through it, you'll kill the rubber seals, but you can get the solvent resistant front ones that fit to the nozzles at the front. But a very nice brush. If you see one on eBay going for about £45 and it's working, pick one up, because these come in on a 0.12. It'll be the smallest needle and nozzle size that you can get, and they are outstanding for detail, guys. So great brushes to look out for. They've all worked for me, and I use these day to day in videos and custom work that I'm doing, whether it be portraits or painting a car or painting a wall. So they're the brands to look out for, guys. H&S, big thumbs up for a good beginner brush right up to your detail brushes. Price wise, I think are brilliant. Parts, dead easy to get hold of, and now the easiest brushes, the H&S, to strip down out of all of these. You won't have any problems with them. Next ones to move on, I'd say Creos and Badger. So tart, big thumbs up. PS290, cracking brush, I've recommended it before. PS290, brilliant all-rounder for big spray stuff if you want to get some stuff down. Rich pen for your detail. Iwata HPC Plus all-rounder on 0.3. HP SB Plus side feed 0.2, cracking on detail, comfortable, brilliant trigger. Takumi exactly the same, and then we've got the custom micron at the top, which is the flagship of the Iwata, so it's an outstanding brush. So I hope that's helped you at looking at sort of a £100 brush if you're looking. Stick to them brands because they won't let you down. They will last. As I say, they've lasted for me. I hope it's helped you out. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe, press that notification, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.